Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 148th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by
Wow. After how good the first one was, huh?
I nailed it. That one is a bit hard to say, like saying it fast, don't you reckon?
PWSA.
PWSA's number one fanboy, Jaden.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? The other thing with it too is that it's very similar to PTA's number one fanboy, obviously by design.
Yeah,
but when I go to say it, I'm so close to saying AKA right afterwards. But I just Jane. Yeah, it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle out there. And also, I wonder if Liam will like this one. It's Charlie Day, AKA Luigi, AKA Fitzy, AKA Liam.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's appropriate because the Mario movie is coming.
Yeah. I know. That's why I chose it. Are you excited for it?
Yeah. The closer it gets, the more excited I am.
It's becoming more real to you. Nice. Very good. Very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Ad Astra, which opened in the US on September 20th, 2019. It was directed by James Gray. It's a sci-fi drama, and the synopsis says, astronaut Roy McBride undertakes a mission across an unforgiving solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father and his doomed expedition that now, 30 years later, threatens the universe. Wow. Jaden and Liam, we chose this movie because you guys haven't seen it. I have seen it. I saw it in the cinema, actually. But as a first-time viewer in the cinema... Do you like how I always put it like that in the Discord?
Oh, do you?
Thanks, Jaden. All right, Liam, what did you think of Ad Astra?
I really liked it. It was like a good, like anti-natalist, like misandry, themed film mixed with some daddy issues and some workaholic themes, and these kind of themes are like laid on top of each other and in a kind of pretty fascinating way, I guess. Yeah, the space photography is really amazing. There's just a lot to like about it. But it is kind of a bit slow or ambiguous as well. So yeah, I liked it there.
Yeah, I agree with the slowness aspect. What about you, Jaden?
Yeah, same sentiment as Liam, but without the big words, Anti-natalist misandry. Come on, man. I think a film like this is so reliant on its thematic delivery, and I'm not entirely convinced that the themes that it lands on by the end is worth the journey. But yeah, no, it was quite a decent experience. It's far more 2001 than it is Interstellar. But it is more Interstellar in the way it is focused on the human and not the space, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's 100% true. I really liked this movie. I enjoyed it the first time in the cinema. I particularly remember the sound of the film actually from that experience and how it drew me into the space of the film emotionally as well, which it still did this time. But I think I always had an interpretation of the story, which was just really solidified for me this time. I have conviction now that I think I really know what the film... I feel like I understand the film. I feel like I really know what it's about, which definitely made me appreciate it more. And I think technically there's so much amazing work coming together on screen for this one that sort of just brings the story to life in a great way. So, it's a standout in terms of film craftsmanship for sure, and really good storytelling as well. I'm so glad you guys both brought up the themes and the story like right away as the main talking points, because it's totally my first number one thing to jump to as well. I was very curious after the first viewing what sort of your main takeaways from Brad Pitt's arc, Roy McBride's arc. I'm going to try to use his character name today. What some of your main takeaways from his arc were, and what the film's themes were to you. And you've already sort of touched on things that were absolutely main points that I thought of as well. But Fitzy, you used some big words. I agree with Jaden. Can you explain these words to me? And also just feel free to touch on the film thematically at the same time. But I am curious what the hell those words mean.
Well, just like anti-natalism is like, the one for humans to be destroyed, the human race to be destroyed, and Miss Andrews like anti kind of other people, anti-social kind of.
I
Oh
thought
yeah.
misandry was related to more men, isn't it? I could be very wrong.
I think I mean misanthropy, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, prejudice against men is
Okay, I'm
misandry.
sorry. I
You see, but
failed.
I think
These
that's
are the
still
big
valid
ones.
because like this kind of like men hating men kind of thing, going on.
Yeah, it
You know,
is kind of still true.
like
in
the
movie.
son without the father is nothing kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, that fits.
Maybe my subconscious knew what to say, but my conscious mind didn't. I don't know what the central like theme is, or like the central through line is. So it sounds like you have a better understanding of that, Zach. You said you understand the film. Don't
I feel like, but
do the head things.
no. I just mean in terms of, I feel like you got it with your big words. I feel like I totally agree with what you guys have already touched on a little bit. I mean, I'm glad you explained those words to me. That's that's what happens when you do lit, I guess. And I will say, out of your initial monologue, I understood daddy issues the most and resonated with that the most. You know what I mean? But no, I really like Brad Pitt's arc in the film. It's
Roy,
definitely a focus on, what was that?
Roy's
Roy,
arc.
sorry, yeah, I've already gone back on what I said. I really like Roy McBride's arc in the film, sort of focusing on his personal life. I think the film does a really good job of this sort of the way he chooses in the end to get the most out of his life, be appreciative for what he has on Earth, as opposed to looking to the stars, which is sort of like the thing I do really think the film does well in terms of ad astra means to the stars, like that's, but like thematically the film, I know it's like, what did you see that title sequence at the start where it did the thing and it showed you that? No, but that's really cool because at the end of the day, like the film is thematically sort of preaching the opposite. I take the film as a criticism of pushing boundaries and complete commitment to one's work and pursuit of knowledge, and what you guys have already said about workaholic and those ideas for sure, like a very practical applications of that. Simple ideas, really. In a way, I sort of feel like I'm back in Year 12 English here talking about Frankenstein. But there's something about the way that I really find fascinating about the film, the fact it's framed around space travel. I feel like we all just instinctively feel like space needs to be explored, that we need to figure out where other intelligent life is, especially on screen and in film. When we think about a space exploration movie, it's just obvious. Oh yeah, well, let's go and explore space. Space is awesome. Let's do it. Let's go to planets. Sounds great. But like the lesson that Roy learns is a nice lesson for all audience members. The fact that it's the opposite, and it feels so contradictory to the subject matter in that way, and its title, obviously, that it makes it more appealing and satisfying to me as a framing device to make it like, yeah, the film has themes that you might have heard of before, but still themes that are very relevant and that are just so inherently like opposed to the genre as well. So that was sort of what I got out of it this time. I feel like, I don't know if that's a decent summary of what you also felt, Jaden, and if that encapsulates Fitz's argument as well. But that's sort of my understanding of the film overall, I would say.
Your guys' pickups are far better than mine. Because like one of the main things that like that arc was kind of left with because like the kind of culmination point of the film leaves you on is him having to let go of his father, and I was like, if this whole story has just been about him letting go, which it kind of is, which is about him letting go of the stars and letting go of all the
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
I was like that's not really a satisfying theme to end on. But the way you guys kind of described your kind of interpretations, I'm like, okay, I can kind of get behind it a bit more, I guess.
Sure. No, that's a totally great point to bring in. Like, Tommy Lee Jones and Clifford, Brad Pitt's father's character, he's an integral part of that story for him, because I really like how he really plays the opposite side of that coin in terms of the character that represents, I don't know, the workaholic side, pushing the boundary side, taking everything way too far. I think Tommy Lee Jones he's in the movie. I don't know, he's in it fairly briefly, but for the part he has, I think he plays it really well. He literally tells Roy to his face that he never cared about him or his mother. He found his destiny in the stars. He's always looking up, looking for more. A direct quote: "He has infinite work to do."
Dude,
And it's just like
that
wow.
that delivery when he said that was cold as fuck. It was just like he just straight up told him that.
I know he really did not give a shit. So that confrontation of them finally meeting on screen and how Clifford talks to Roy is a big sort of slap in the face. And the film has a lot of build up as well to that in other scenes that we can talk about. But just getting to that moment, I thought was a real slap in the face, really satisfying. And so that's why I get what you mean, Jan. I think I sort of, if I remember correctly, I sort of had a similar thing the first time where, I mean, it is still daddy issues for sure. Like, there's no denying that. But I think the first time when Tommy Lee Jones is like, when they're spinning around in the void, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, "You got to let me go." I thought it was like, okay, this is a bit on the nose, you know. Like, I get it, but this time I did enjoy it more for the fact that I sort of interpreted it. Can definitely be interpreted as a bit simplistic, but I took it definitely more as he's got to let go of the broader stuff. He's got to let go of the ideas of wanting to be an astronaut. You know, he's got to let go of why did he even come here? You know, I mean, he saved humanity, which is so that's a positive. But the idea of his career and his profession, he's got to let go of this constant desire to keep going out there and just repeating the cycle of his father. You know, he needs to go back to Earth and hang out with his wife. And that's what he's letting go of in that way. So that's why it worked for me more this time in that sense, I guess.
What you said about like the theme of workaholism, like being kind of antithetical to the like science fiction genre, is really true, because when you think of space, it kind of like cancels out that theme with like what space represents in like innovation and like discovery and that kind of thing. Like even in Interstellar, like McConaughey's choice is presented as like noble, and it's kind of like even at the end you're only given a brief, you know, glimpse of like emotional regret or that kind of thing. So that's really true. But the other thing is, not to go back to my big words, but I think
Well, you already fucking used one, antithetical. I have to search that one up.
I'll do that. So I don't even know. I just spit these things out, you know.
Yeah,
I'm just like that.
of course.
But like the daddy issues and like the self-hatred, I feel like kind of fuels his big word incoming. Misanthropy. And like especially with like when he's talking about how capitalism has kind of invaded the moon, and like kids are taking photos next to like, you know, ETs and costumes and shit like that. That was like I feel like you could really feel his disgust there, and even throughout the whole film, it just has a whole. He has like Roy has complete disgust for like just like all these random human processes and kind of like wars and stuff, that like the resource war as well on Mars, on the moon, is like that as well. So yeah, he ties that with his, you know, his workaholism. He just kind of wants to get away from humans, which is what his father does in the end. So I think that's interesting.
100%. And I mean, with the amount that goddamn he has to take these constant psych evaluations into that stupid.
Oh, bro,
my
I felt
God.
like I was going fucking insane with him.
Oh, totally. Yeah. He plays that really well when he finally loses it on it and he fails the first one on Mars. Yeah, no, that shit's infuriating for sure. I will say, I also think, in regards to these really interesting ideas, I think Gray does a really wonderful job of backing them up with his depiction of space in a technical way, like through narrative, through score, the way the story is paced out. Like we've said, there's all these little moments throughout. But overall, like the depiction of space in the cinematography and everything, it's depicted as this really like lonely, dangerous place. It's almost quite, I think, shown to be, it's viewed quite pessimistically, I would argue, especially compared to a lot of other media, which I really like, especially during that sort of extended sequence where Roy is on I think it was a 79-day trip, I believe, from Mars to Neptune. It's Neptune, right? The blue one.
Yeah.
on that particular trip where he's basically losing his mind in the little montage that they have, that whole thing just made it seem like the worst place of all time, you know? Just like he may as well be in an insane asylum out there in the void of darkness, you know? So I feel like the way, I mean, the film's stunning otherwise, but particularly in the isolation and the dread of it, I'm just like, but not in a typical way. Not like I wasn't scared of it, but I was just like, this sucks, you know? I don't want to
Oh
be
yeah,
here. Which is exactly, I think, again, thematically what it's going for.
yeah. That montage was kind of amazing. But there were so many parts of the film that just had like this massive sense of dread for them. Even like the opening thing with like it's I guess it's not a space station because it's like attached to the Earth, but it's
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but the thing where he falls from it. When I knew that was in the film because it was in the trailers and stuff, and it seemed way more gimmicky and kind of like a thriller-esque from the trailers, but it's way more horrifying in the film, especially when you hear like all the screams from the people above when shit starts exploding. And like
Absolutely.
there's just random moments of horror in the film like that, like the monkey as well, which I was not expecting. Yeah.
Totally. No, I love the tower sequence, actually. It was a standout for me. Yeah, so it is like, I don't know what it is, but it's like it's a tower, essentially.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like the
it's
thing
a space
from
antenna.
Fall, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've seen that trailer. I don't know what its purpose is, but that whole sequence was intense for sure. I really, really liked it. The free falling that they did felt really visceral. I don't know. I don't really know how they did that, to be honest. I need to check something out, but the cameraman that was with the person falling, it felt really good. Like I felt like the camera was going crazy and the person was friggin' spinning all over the place. It was pretty scary stuff for sure. No, that was a great sequence. But I'm so glad you brought up the monkey though, Jane. Were you expecting Nope to just turn up in this movie, man? Because it was definitely a
No, yeah,
surprise for me.
when you kind of get that fucking shot of like the body like spasming out a bit, I was like, oh, we're gonna hit some alien stuff,
Yeah,
we're gonna.
yeah.
I was like, all right, so there is intelligent life. They're here. They're fucking us up. I was like, all right, here we go. And then it's a monkey. I was like, oh, what? I was like,
It's crazy.
it's
Crazy.
it's a way better kind of thing to throw in there than the alien. Given the grand scheme of the film,
Oh,
obviously.
totally.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
like you can never throw an alien in there. But yeah, it was just shocking.
I thought it'd be some alien with like tentacles or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. They totally, that was totally designed that way. No
yeah.
doubt. They thought everyone's going to think it was an alien. But then guess what? It can't, obviously not a coincidence that it's not an alien. It's the most primitive form of human, in
Whoa.
that. So it's like, whoa. Yeah, exactly. I remember the first time I saw it, well done scene. I remember thinking it was a bit random the first time, like a bit of a random pit stop, side quest sort of thing. But still liked the scene for what it was. But I was sort of like, yeah, I feel like we could have cut that. Definitely not this time though. Like I feel like it was quite an important scene, actually, just really hammering home like literally the fact that he goes out there and the monkey is the direct result of clear human experimentation. Again, all these ideas we've been talking about already, scientific experiments, trying to push boundaries, all this sort of shit. And it just comes back and ruins everything, of course, as always. So this is sort of, I guess, a bit of a warning for Brad Pitt's character at that point for where he's at. Also, the monkey, no, it was two monkeys. Those monkeys looked amazing. Just got to say that while we're ranking
Oh
our
yeah,
animal CG throughout the history of the show.
dude, you said on pit stop. Yeah,
Uh,
pit.
uh,
Oh, nice. I did not do that intentionally. But in speaking to these ideas as well, one thing I think the movie does do very well is that I think it's a very pro-Earth movie, and I think that's great. I think it's about sort of appreciating what we have here, especially when we get to Mars and that Mars leader who she said she'd been to Earth once and thought it was beautiful. And I thought that was quite a memorable scene because that experience of a human being having only been to Earth once and talking about how like it was this amazing experience for her. That's that's an incomprehensible experience for any human being who's ever lived up until this point in history. You know what I mean? But I'm sure in the perhaps not too distant future, as the movie puts it, that'll become a reality for some people, where it's like Earth is this weird far off place that's like you dream about, you aspire to go to there, and how crazy that is. So especially when they're in that scene and they're standing in that room with like all the what do you call it, the virtual projection walls,
Hmm.
The
where it's like
comfort
projecting
rooms.
the comfort rooms, where they're like projecting images of Earth and the waves and the trees and shit. It's just like, it has a really good effect, I think. At least it did on me, where I was just like, wow, that's pretty freaking cool. And people, no wonder in this life and the way Mars is depicted as this pretty terrible landscape, to be honest. Like, I'd want to be on Earth. Earth's awesome. Like, let's appreciate Earth, you know? So I feel like in that way, I don't know, the film made me appreciate Earth. So I think that's cool. I don't know. Especially, also, I would say that at the ending as well, the final scene where Brad Pitt gets back down. And they didn't go over the top with it, you know, in terms of the scene when he crash lands back on Earth. But I will say I did notice like the contrast in like the natural, just him stepping out into the natural sunlight, you know, was quite a different sort of visual trigger for me compared to a lot of the other artificial feeling
Mm.
colors we get on the other planets, and the stark reds of Mars and the stark blues of when we're outside Neptune and all that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, and the hand embrace is like really focused on, because he's embracing humanity again, unlike his dad, who disowned humanity and wanted to look for other intelligent life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, these are all just little things I picked up on this time. I will say though, dude, I can't stand those little bedrooms, those comfort rooms on Mars. I can't stand those. Like, would you guys want to? Would you want to hang out in those? I feel like they drive me mad.
Yeah, that
You would?
it was yeah. No, it was fucking maddening.
Oh,
Absolutely.
good. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just like this projection of like what they think Earth is. Because you go to Earth and no one actually experiences that. You're not actually in nature with fucking thousands of birds swirling around. It's all just blue and shit like that. You're down the fucking Macca's down the road, and there's a fucking magpie on the ground, and he's squawking at you. Like it's not a like it's like the like not only is like the was like presented as being of home, but like the way it is presented, it's fucking psychotic.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But there's something beautiful about that magpie squawking at you, I would argue. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Something gorgeous about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's totally true. But I think that's also, I don't know, it's interesting. Like that, the fact that it's real, like it's Earth, but it's artificial, and it's this weird like trying to recreate the experience of it. But you're like billions of miles away, and you're stuck in this little room. Oh yeah, it's just something about it was just a terrible, terrible thing. I couldn't stand being in there, man. Just the whole thing felt like really empty, you know.
Yeah.
Not like, I know it is sort of an empty room, but you know what I mean.
mm.
An empty experience being in there, I guess.
No, I just saw a Reddit post talking about like what's like the most unnerving like kind of scene or thing in a film that you can't really describe. It just like it just unsettles you. Like it's fucking that thing. It just like
Yeah,
just completely unsettles you. Yeah.
absolutely, it did for me for sure. In terms of the character a little bit, expanding on Roy McBride, I must say that the recurring theme of this experience for me was like, I liked it a lot the first time, but I didn't really fully, I don't think, appreciate Brad Pitt in this role the first time, because looking back now, like Brad Pitt's perfect for this, because on the surface he's like the all American astronaut. He's what you'd expect. Exactly, perfectly played at the start, where he's just this guy who's chill. He does the job. Pulse rate never goes above 80, as they say. And that's just Brad Pitt on the surface. You know what I mean? But as you see him break down, you sort of see the true the real nature of the character. It's always hinted at through those little flashes to like Liv Tyler and things, but as the real nature of the character is revealed, so is the performance sort of comes out as well. And he's a pretty damaged guy. And I think the scene where he sort of eventually is just there, it really happens at Mars, where he sort of finally breaks down and he ends up just giving his little podcast audio message to his dad and just going full genuine on it and breaking down in tears. And then that's when he fails the psych test afterwards. I thought that was all really, really well played. And when you sort of see him genuinely like not just upset and emotional for the first time, but also like abrasive or, combative towards Spacecom for the first time. When they come into the room and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much. You'll be returning to Earth now." And you can clearly tell that his dad responded to him. And it's like, "Thank you. Please piss off." It's like, that was maddening stuff. So I think Brad Pitt really played that well. He gave his life to these people, and it's just like, they really do not give a shit. So, yeah, anyway, huge shout out to Brad Pitt. I think he's really good in this movie and potentially has the potential to be underrated in this role just by nature of it being a bit, if you watch the first 20 minutes, you might just think it's pretty straightforward Brad Pitt stuff, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think it's like well disguised.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, oh yeah, the thing where the scene where he gets cut off from Spacecom is really good. Because he's like, he's this high-ranking major, and his dad was like one of the most important figures. But then he can't even contact them. It's just totally all their resources. They just don't, grant him anything. And yeah, it's like infuriating when he like tries to take the psych exam and can't do it. It's probably even better than like. I mean, there are a few elements of the film that are like the comfort rooms. I've seen that in like other things like Sunshine or whatever, but it's definitely the most unnerving here, where you like see from the outside just the size of the room, and it just looks like solitary confinement. And then the psych evaluation test, which is also in like Blade Runner 2049, it just feels similar to that, but more unnerving by the fact that there's no like, there's no like blaring voice. It's just kind of silence, and you don't know whether like what he's saying is right or wrong.
What do you mean? The psych evals from The Mandalorian season 3, episode 3.
Oh yeah.
God damn it, Chad. Yeah, that's where they took it from. No, I totally agree. Dude, there's so much. There's a lot of Blade Runner 2049 in the look of this film, I think. Especially Mars. Some of those first shots
like
of the corridor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yellow corridor.
Yep. The most orange corridor you've ever seen in your life. That was huge. But I really liked it because, as I sort of mentioned, the natural lighting of Earth, it's a stark contrast. It's just the most artificial feeling lighting ever on Mars. Just makes it feel like this weird sort of fake gross place, but also very distinctively Mars because of the color and stuff. So that's really cool. I really liked all the interior lighting they did there. And also huge shout out to the fact, I don't know why this was a main takeaway for me this time, but I really, for all these reasons, really liked the shot of Brad Pitt sort of walking through what looked like sort of an underground equivalent of like a street on Mars, and there's a dog there. That one quick shot, I thought that was really interesting. A really, really nice shot to include because it's like, it really sort of showed, I don't know, Mars as, in terms of the habitat there and the experience of living there, felt like sort of an equivalent to living in like a dodgy neighborhood or something.
Was that on Mars?
And the fact that there were dogs there was really interesting. Sorry?
Was that on Mars?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was a little dog there on Mars. Again, sort of drawing the parallels to Earth of like, it's not that much different, but look how much worse it is at the same time, I was like, I don't know. This answered my question of the week response pretty succinctly.
Mhm.
I think we'll get to that. Yeah,
I just love the repeated kind of idea that we are world destroyers. Like we destroyed they destroyed the moon. They're destroying Mars now, and now over at Neptune they're further destroying the Earth. I just think it's such a sick kind of repeated thing that goes on.
Absolutely. We suck.
Mm.
Is the moral of the story, no doubt. Yeah, all that shit on the moon was really cool. I didn't want to skip over that by any means. It makes so much sense that the moon would end up being a war zone, but it's just it's like cringeworthy. It's like, of course, humans, we suck. Like, of course we do that, but like it's probably gonna happen. It's like, oh man. But the way that was shown too, and that little action set piece they did on the moon was really, really good. I love the way the goddamn vehicles like implode on themselves, and all the way the laser fire was done. Just and playing with gravity as well when they friggin' leapt off the canyon and there's the slow spin. This is a really unique action scene. I thought it was really good.
Is the action actually good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good in like a traditional action sense, but like it feels very unique. Like the muffled shooting is like amazing.
Yes.
It feels like scary. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like over time, and I especially felt this watching John Wick Chapter 4 this week, because that was like a return to like my grassroots of like me understanding and that I love action, you know. But over time, especially doing the show, I've come to sort of like redefine in a good way of like what is good action in my mind, you know. And it's not, and that is to say that it's not one thing, you know. It's just whatever the film is trying to portray and trying to explore in its own way in its own setting, but just done well in an engaging way. And that's what I think this does. Like, as I said, with the gravity and the way the friggin' vehicles were going all over the place, like it's very much its own action set piece, but just really unique, I guess. I thought it was cool.
Mm.
But actually, so I do have a question. What was the release of the antimatter itself, which is causing these like cosmic storms in the solar system, caused by Clifford's experiments? So on Neptune, like what actually? Why was he releasing the antimatter? Like, did he need to in order to communicate with the intelligent life he was trying to get a hold of, or something like that? I wasn't 100% clear on that.
I think so, yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
necessary for his search.
Okay. And I guess was he aware of the impact he was having?
Am I
They had
dumb?
tried to
Wasn't it?
communicate with him.
Was,
Sorry.
wasn't it that he's like the last remaining crew tried to get out in a fight, they damaged something, and then that damage was what was causing the surges?
Oh, was it? Oh,
I
I
don't
do
know.
remember something like that.
that makes more sense. That
Where
makes
did
sense
they
to me.
where did they mention this antimatter release? Am I dumb?
Well, that's at the start when they're explaining what the
Right.
disaster is. It's caused by the antimatter releasing from near Neptune, and they think it's linked to Clifford.
Right. I'm pretty sure at the end, well, he actually describes that, you know, like that, yeah, that there was a struggle, and like unfortunately that damaged shit, and it was like leaking stuff now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because the revolt on the station was really cool, but I didn't realize that they damaged it and that was causing it. Okay. Cool. So I guess Clifford, wow, he really didn't give a shit. I guess he was just like, I didn't actually even think of it in this context. Like he was literally happy to doom humanity because they said they were trying to communicate with him. So he must have understood the impact that his station was having on everywhere else in the galaxy or whatever. So
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So he just didn't care. He was just like willing to push on.
No. He was trying to. He said he couldn't stop the leak.
Yeah, but he could destroy himself,
Oh yeah, I mean, but
right?
he like, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like you play that too lightly. The fact that he could just destroy himself to stop it all. I mean, like,
But he's meant to be this like hero astronaut guy. He's like doing all this for humanity, but like he can't. He's literally he's going to cause humanity's extinction if he
yeah,
doesn't.
but he was never doing it if he was doing it for himself. But like, I just feel like you're not placing
Yeah.
enough emphasis on the fact that it's him or the world, and like, you know, as a solo him, you know, I mean, like, it's not an easy thing.
Oh no, that's fair
And especially
enough.
when you think, you know, is there a chance I can fix it? Because he's like, we can't fix it, but he, you know, like, I'm sure he tried to fix it.
No, that's fair. But I stand by it regardless. Though, like he made the choice. Though I think he was aware of what he was doing. In I'm sure the option would have crossed his mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, still a prick.
So it's coming, like, the pulses are coming from the ship, right? The ship that he's on?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know about the science of that or anything. I don't think it really matters.
Luke?
But
Well,
Luke,
you see,
yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about this. I'm like, Luke would probably hate this movie in the fact that it takes a more grounded view of its kind of exploration of science to the point where, like, the things that aren't scientific would probably piss him off too much.
Yeah, right. It's like trying to have it both ways a little bit.
Yeah. And especially that ending scene where he jumps through the asteroid belt.
Oh yeah,
like the fucking thing. I was like, Luke would fucking be frothing at the mouth and like have a seizure. So I'm like, I could never recommend this film to Luke, like, for his safety, you know.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, that's a really safety. That's a great point. I mean that stuff doesn't really bother me at all, to be honest. But we understand. It's trying to tell a story about these different themes that we've already talked about. So, like, you know, if we need a dumb antimatter plot to get us there, I'm fine with it. Whatever. Makes sense to me. I will say, brought it up last week. Hoyter. Wait, sorry, Jane. I always stuff up his name. Hoyt van Hoytma, right?
Yeah. But
Thank God.
I think they just refer to him as Hoyter, don't they?
Hoyter?
Hoyter.
Wait.
I'm pretty sure in
Hoyt?
the Dunkirk
God.
behind the scenes they just refer to him as Hoyter or some shit. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Can we just agree to call him Hoyt?
Hoyt. Yep.
Hoyt? Yeah, I like that. I feel like his work on this film is a defining characteristic of it for me. Just really good stuff. I already mentioned some of the lighting and stuff, but I just love the sheer blueness of Neptune and the constant use of, especially during the montage that we already talked about, really liking. But it's the opening frames of the film as well, like the reliance on lens flare and slow crossfades and that sort of thing. Like just really sort of creating this almost like I don't know, like mesmerizing sort of atmosphere, but also adding to the isolation at the same time. Yeah, all really good stuff. Loved, not to go back to the moon action scene, but loved like the way the moon was shot too. Like just this, I don't know where they shoot this stuff, but it looks great. The friggin'
The same
sheer,
studio that did it in fucking 1969 when Neil
oh
Armstrong.
yeah, 100%, 100%. But especially when like you just the blackness, the darkness of the void around them, compared to how bright like the actual surface is and how brightly they're lit, if that makes sense. Because obviously it's the sun's like they got full exposure of the sun there, so that's really cool. Yeah, no, cinematography, huge shout out. I don't know if you guys have any other standout shots we haven't talked about already, but
Was
there are a few good ones. Yeah.
were your versions like super poor quality though? I think the image on my version was like super fucking compressed and like it couldn't like properly like. I feel like this film's fucking beautiful and I couldn't appreciate it because like it looks like it was shot in fucking 720p.
You just watched it on Netflix, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, mine was fine. Yeah, I watched it there. That
either
was
my
good.
monitor's fucked or maybe it
Did
was a
you?
monitor. Maybe I should have watched it on like a massive
Was
TV
it
or
just one of
something.
those things maybe where you just needed a like a buffering thing? Because sometimes it happens where,
Well, I
in my
thought it
experience, where
was.
you just need to reload it again and it's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was that, and I did try it, but like it didn't
Oh,
fix it.
okay.
And I was kind of annoyed because I was like, I feel like I should be like way more awestruck by this than I am.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, no, I feel like you would have been, to be
Mm.
honest. Yeah, it's really good. Any shots that you were able to see through the goddamn pixels?
I just love the way that the exterior of the ships are photographed. Using
Oh
practical
yeah,
models and all that stuff.
yeah,
Very, very nice. I think it adds to the isolation of it all as well. Um,
yeah.
like I don't think I've seen a film like there really is no other space film that is as isolated as this.
I totally agree. Especially, I love the scene, and this is more like isolation, more the traditional sort of horror vein of it. But I love when Roy infiltrates Clifford's, or he enters Clifford's station for the first time, and there's the bodies hanging around, um, and the creepy '50s music. There's nothing, or I don't know, was it '30s maybe? I'm not an expert, but
I think it was actually
um,
42.
was it really '40s? Wow, so close. Dude, there is nothing creepier than just blasting some '40s music through your scene when you're trying to build some suspense. That was really creepy stuff. Um, and the echo, dude, when they started talking as well, like the echo of the dialogue was like insane. I loved it. It was like, wow, this is like the last place on earth these people are talking to each other. It was really good.
Yeah. I think there's something different about the last scene at the restaurant as well, where it just feels. I think most of the film consists of close-ups, which makes you feel more isolated and claustrophobic. So when you get just kind of a normal setting, it's kind of. I mean, it's a little bit jarring. It feels like it's like a little bit from a different film, but like in a good way, yeah. Because
Yeah,
you don't
that's
get
true.
much of a, just a plain view of society or regular people until that last scene.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think
I
happened
think that's probably intentional. Yeah.
what do you think happened to Brad Pitt when he got back to Earth?
What happened to him? What in terms of like career
Repercussions.
repercussions?
Yeah, he killed 3 astronauts.
Yeah,
Kind
I was
of.
just thinking that. Yeah,
That's a good point. And is there any reason they wouldn't know that?
No, because he said the flight recorder. He's like history will decide my fate, and he's like the
Yeah,
flight
he did
recorder
say that.
told you all that. So I mean, unless like Spacecom, how do you tell the world that 3 astronauts are dead? I mean, like from the company's standpoint, they have to kind of like
Yeah.
vilify him. Otherwise, they
And
have
knowing
to.
how the company operates too, they definitely
Yeah,
would.
so they would have. So that's why at the end when he gets pulled out by like the fucking Space Marines or whatever they are, I was like, oh, they're happy. I thought they'd be fucking shot to death on arrival.
I really don't know. I'm just trying to think. Is there a way, like, maybe when they, like, he assumed he'd be taking the same ship back? Oh no, but he did take the same ship back, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he
He'd
did.
pro-
Yeah. So there's no reason the flight recorded. Yeah, I don't know.
He'd probably get some, compensation points for saving
Yeah.
humanity.
For
then.
yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's an important part. Yeah, do you reckon he just probably got off, like, neutral? Like, they probably just let him
Yeah, what's it
cuddle
called when
ties?
like the president or the king rescinds something, like rescinds like
Oh yeah.
fuck, I don't
Yeah, I
know
know
the name.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
get pardon.
Presidential pardon.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably got one of those. He deserves it, no doubt. So, yeah, that's a good point too. But I really like that final scene when he's back on Earth. Like, what did he exactly say? He said, "I will focus on the essential to the exclusion of all else." Is what he said. So basically, like, dude, I'm gonna hang out with my wife and I don't know, have a kid or something. I'm like, yeah, good for you, dude. You know, we don't need to do any of this bullshit again. So I thought that was good. Before I go too far from the cinematography, just got to say, love the way the astronaut helmets are photographed. Love especially when Roy and Clifford are holding each other, spinning into space, and the close-ups of their helmets, like the reflections that they always use, but especially there and the reflections of Neptune and each other, like, yeah, just really, really great detail. But we brought up the sound a few times, and I don't know if you guys know, but score is a part of the sound, I would say. This film was composed by Max Richter, who I've got beef with because this is On the Nature of Daylight guy.
Yeah.
So I don't like him, but no, I thought the score was quite good. Actually, it was quite a balance of, I guess, more in the classical vein, but sort of peaceful at times as well, especially when they were traveling to the moon. But then, of course, ramps up as well when it needs to later on. I thought it was quite decent, but it is also quite a quiet film at times too. I feel like also the lack of score in moments is notable.
Yeah. I think
As to the soul journey of this guy, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty muted, but I think there was two instances where I kind of did. I can't recall what they were, but there were two instances where I was like, probably took note. I think it was. I think one of them was during like kind of the final kind of 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
and the kind of build there.
It does get loud at points there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other one was also during the monkey scene, maybe. Or is that void of
Oh,
score? I can't recall. There was definitely there was another instance like
remember.
kind of in the midpoint that I was like, oh yeah.
We already touched on it a little bit, but another aspect I find quite interesting is sort of the world building or the depiction of the not too distant future. To sort of give us an idea where this is set, I grabbed from the trivia here. So Clifford, the Project Lima date when he departs was the year 2079. You can see this in the background in the shots where they're explaining Clifford and they've got his biography and stuff. So he leaves in 2079. That was when, and what's his face? Roy says he was 16. I don't know if you can put that. Do you want to say roughly that was 30 years ago, maybe? In rough terms, do you reckon?
40, maybe.
40?
Yeah, 40.
Why is that?
I think they tried to keep Brad Pitt's ages. I think they tried to keep all the ages as like as accurate as they could, right?
Oh, okay. If you're taking that away, it'd be 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So that would make it 21, 21, 20.
2119. I think they wanted it to be like 100 years in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes. Yeah. That math lines up perfect. Exactly. Yeah. So that would make sense if it's 100 years from now. Yeah.
Oh, from the release, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. No, I just thought that's always when sci-fi attempts to sort of do this sort of thing. This is obviously a more grounded take on sci-fi. I always take note of how they sort of explore what our future could look like, and I thought it was interesting for sure. Like the commercial travel to the moon was interesting. Took a Virgin flight. Very, very, very accurate there. I thought that was a good inclusion.
Like,
he has to quarantine.
Like the moon flight was very, very commercial. Like the difference between like that and like 2001, where it's a bit more free flowing and like romantic, is like pretty evident. Like even like, especially him buying the pillow and that, and she's like, oh, that'll be $150. I'm like, okay, well, is inflation, so maybe it's like $25 to $40 today, but
Yeah.
yeah.
100%. I had to make a note. $125 for pillow pack. It was like, I got. Can we just do the whole review about that?
Yeah, and then he does his, they still have credit cards, and he like,
yeah.
Doesn't he skin his
credit.
finger?
Does he? Oh, probably.
I think he skinned his finger.
His finger? Was it his finger?
I think so. I think it was.
Damn, well, that makes sense too. Yeah. No, that's all good stuff. And I don't know if I'm wrong about this. Fitzgerald brought up earlier, like the capitalization of the moon, which I also really like the way it's totally commercialized. I thought, and I could be tripping. I swear to God, because it was a main sort of thing I remembered about when I saw it in the cinema, that there was a subway on the moon when I saw it in the cinema. I swear to Jesus. Could be making it up. Could have dreamt it. Pretty sure there was, and I just noted this time there was no subway on the moon because I thought, oh, maybe that's a licensing thing where they had to take it out. They had to take out the logo, digitally on a.
Oh,
on a
you mean
release.
like the sandwich shop?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, because there was also like a train system.
Yeah,
sorry.
I did talk about the train. I was like, oh yeah, there was.
There was I swear there was a Subway sandwich shop. Maybe I should look this up on Reddit or something. Someone will know. But I swear there was a shop on the moon. I was remembering that being like, oh, that's a funny little detail, and that like exemplifies what we're talking about.
Oh, right.
But it wasn't there this time, so I wonder if they removed it or if I just dreamt it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's
on Netflix.
Yeah, it's
Oh, really?
Right next to the DHL.
Just
right?
when he walks in, like at 23, like 23 or 7, 23, 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right next to the DHL, behind the DHL. I didn't even see that. Yeah,
that's where he mentions we are world eaters as well.
Yeah. But is there going to be Subway's new advertising campaign?
That's funny because like the advertising campaign, Subway's advertising campaign is like Subway's everywhere. So I mean, it suits, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole thing on Community where like Subway like buys into like into the college, and like they have an undercover like student like marketer, and like he's like doing like a real advertising technique to shit, and it's like a whole thing. Like Subway's in it with movies and like media, man.
That's so funny, man. Good for them. Good for Subway. I rate Subway. I'm not going to lie. I like Subway. I'm going to throw out this little bit of trivia. Luke might appreciate this. This is not really related to the film explicitly. All it is, but this is a little science fact I learned. I just want to, everyone out there who wants to learn something new every day, I'm going to help you achieve this for today right now. In traveling from Mars to Neptune, the planets Jupiter and Saturn are mentioned, but no one ever mentions Uranus. However, since the planets are rarely lined up with respect to the Sun, they would not necessarily pass it, in particular if these planets were on opposite sides of the Sun. Moreover, without preparation or a coincidence, it would be fairly unusual to pass Jupiter and Saturn on the way to Neptune. I just want to bring that up because I'm stupid and never thought of that. In my brain, all the time, 24/7, you want to go to Neptune? You got to pass all the other planets, right? I literally have never thought about that in my life. I thought it was a straight line. I'm not going to lie. But it's like one of those things where like one concept and another concept, to be universally true, when you realize they combine, your world shatters. Because obviously I know everything rotates around the sun. But then I'm like, but the planets, they're still a straight line, no? Yes? I don't know.
They're just like the diagrams, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I literally thought that.
School. Yeah.
I literally thought that. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, hopefully someone... either I just taught a few people a really interesting fact, or everyone now thinks I'm really stupid, but you all thought that anyway. It's fine.
Well, like the length of days and years on different planets are different, right? So like that's what because they rotate at a slower speed. It's like they have like did you think they had like a longer day but still like maintain like the same kind of orbit as us?
I guess, yes. I never thought about it.
A year, rather.
That must have been that would be what I would have thought. That's so weird, though. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen the diagrams of the solar system zoomed out and you see everything all around, but I've also seen the ones where they're a straight line. So
yeah, a bit contradicting. Yeah. You also notice how you can never see the curvature of the Earth when you look at the horizon. Interesting.
I always thought those flat earthers had a point, man. I'm not going to lie. The astronauts are religious in the film, actually, which I thought was
Yes,
yeah, that's
yes,
one thing.
that was fucking interesting. Actually, good point.
The whole
Yeah.
like faith angle is interesting. That's another theme that just like kind of just like stacks on top of all the other ones.
Yes, exactly.
Well, why make him religious? You know, like apart from the fact that it's fucking cool. You know, as like the dialogue aesthetic and all that shit.
Yeah.
What like you say it stacks on top of the themes. Like what does it work with?
Well, I think it just like is another extension of taking things from Earth, right? And I think that Clifford, when he becomes like a bit disenchanted with science, he kind of relies on faith, right? Because he says in science you have to sometimes, go over the I don't know what that is over like exceed the impossible or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which he like kind of uses faith to do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like completely know what to make of the religion. I just think that like it's another thing that's there that can be like interwoven with the other themes.
Yeah.
In an
Yeah.
analysis.
I don't either, but it also does feel like a bit of a contradiction as well, like another contradiction a little bit with these characters that are like all about science and what's possible, but then
I
still
think this
have
idea that scientists are atheists or agnostic or whatever is pretty wrong. Like
fair, okay,
there
yeah,
are plenty of like super religious, like very like intelligent scientists and whatnot.
Yeah.
The two aren't like being scientific and being religious aren't mutually exclusive.
No, I don't think so.
Like the first
I don't.
scientists
Yeah,
were like the religious ones.
that makes sense. I'm not saying they have to be mutually exclusive, but I feel like there's something going on. The fact that the astronauts are talking about God is like interesting to me. I don't know. Yeah. Um. Also, actually, what the hell is Spacecom actually? Because I presume this is some sort of weird replacement for NASA.
But like way more militaristic.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think the film explores it at all. But like, I was just in my head, I was sort of breaking down. Was there some sort of event in this timeline that sort of where NASA was just like this became NASA from something else because of weird political shit that happened, and then like you said, like it's not NASA in the way it behaves, but it sort of seems like it's the substitute for it. Like I thought it was interesting. I don't know if there's some world building stuff there that they did, but
It's like
it's weird.
Space Navy compared to like paired with NASA kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know how like Donald Trump like announced like Space Force. Like maybe
Oh
it
yeah.
happened. Do you know
Oh
the
no.
U.S. military owns the GPS system?
Really? So
Like
they
like
know.
like they could just shut the GPS down. Like it'd be fucking chaos. Apparently they own the GPS. Like what makes global positioning like possible, and they could just shut it down if they wanted.
Like what, the satellites and the systems?
Yeah, like the U.S. Army owns that.
Like
Really?
even for other countries, like for
Yeah,
us.
I think like everything that is like geo positioning is owned by them. I think because I was watching the F1 yesterday and they had a GPS problem and they were talking about it
Oh.
and they're like
Call up the U.S. military.
yeah and like yeah.
God,
Interesting.
Is that not like incredibly
that's weird.
uncomfortable? The fact that a military entity owns something that like everyone is so fucking reliant on.
Yes. All right, before you alarm me anymore, Jaden, let's get to our final verdicts for Ad Astra. Liam.
I think I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I think uh, yeah, I don't know if it's quite a 9 because I don't know if as Jane said, like all the kind of interweaving threads like tie perfectly in the end. But I think it is just like a pretty awesome movie in terms of its thematic scope and the cinematography and Pitt's performance, which we kind of mentioned but didn't as much. Which is like just really really sick. So yeah, 8 out of 10 is good.
Totally agree with you. I'm giving it an 8 as well. Yeah, definitely liked it a bit more this time.
I give it a 7. because like you guys did like sort of like something like the thematic kind of like things that were missing for me, but like I would like to discover them for myself, kind of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it is a Brad Pitt kind of one man show masterclass. But yeah, no, it's quite good. 7.
Perfecto. Yeah, you'll rewatch it and give it an 8, exactly the same as me. I'm sure you will.
Mm.
You have to now.
In like 4 years' time.
Let's get into news chat. Scott Pilgrim versus the World anime has been announced. It's happening. All the original cast are back. I don't really know anything else about it. You said it's coming pretty soon, Jaden.
I think Edgar made it seem like it was coming sooner than. I think his tweet literally does say coming sooner than you expect.
Oh, literally.
Um,
Okay.
let me just go double check that. I don't want to fake misinformation.
Where would this? Do you know where this would be?
Yeah, Netflix.
Ah. Okay. Okay. That's
Uh,
interesting.
is imminent. Is what it
Oh,
says.
that's cool. Because you know, there's the video games.
Yes.
Or the video. I think it's just one game, but they re-released it. Is it in that? Would it be in that style? Like, is that? Would you call that an anime style?
Well, it's in the style of the comic, which is the game's in the style of the comic, so it's in that style.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, but the comics, like, is this anime? Oh, that's another whole thing. Is the anime a sequel to the movie, to the comic, to the?
I think it's a recreation of the game, of the movie. I think it's the movie.
Oh, what? It's just the movie.
Maybe. Wait. Let me.
Oh, that's sort of. It's a bit. I mean, I guess it'll be cool to look at, but
I have all the Scott Pilgrims.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot they were comics. I forgot. But yeah.
Oh no, it says it'll continue.
It's very anime, like the cover list and the drawings.
Yeah.
No, so it says it'll continue, and I think it'll continue with like the comic arc that the movie didn't get to do.
Okay. Very good. We've got an Asteroid City trailer, which is the new film by Mr. Wes Anderson. He's back again. This man pumps out films, man. Good for him. I feel like they're never nominated at the Academy Awards, just quietly. But anyway, Liam, what do you think of this trailer?
This was really good. It was I'm a lot more excited for this than I am like was for the French Dispatch. It looks like it's just like Wes Anderson films are like obviously very quirky. But like setting it in a French setting and then having 3 different stories, one of which is black and white, I think was just like too much. But this one is like it is just in one place and it seems more focused. But yeah, it looks amazing. So yeah, looks very beautiful.
What's it about and who's in it?
Well, everyone's in it because everyone's in it. Like, if you're not in it, it's kind of an insult if you're not in it. You know, if you're not in a Wes Anderson movie these days.
Yeah, that's true.
No, like Scarlett Johansson's in it. What's Leif Schreiber is in it. Steve Carell, Tom Hanks, and there's a guy, Jason Schwartzman. Yeah, I think he's probably in it. I mean, he's in like half of his as well.
No Bill Murray?
Probably, but he like just blends so well into like the background of
he's just part of it.
Yeah, he's just part of the color palette and the fucking symmetry, you know. But yeah, no, it looks really good. So yeah.
So wait, is it a period piece?
They're like I don't know. It feels like
I think it's the 60s.
Yeah, 60s. I was gonna say it looks like it's in the 60s. And it's like at a youth convention, like youth astronomer convention, and like there's like some weird cataclysmic, like maybe alien event that's happening, and they have to figure it out. Which is cool. I mean, the trailer kind of gave a sense, like a little bit of that kind of thing maybe actually being an eventuality, but no, yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know if he's done like a sci-fi thing. A straight sci-fi thing, yeah, so that's cool.
Very, very cool. Imagine it, Wes Anderson makes an alien invasion movie. That'd be cool.
Could be that.
Now it's time for our highlights of the week. Jaden, what have you been watching?
I watched Wednesday. Finally,
Oh, Jesus.
biggest show of fucking all
Biggest show
time.
of, biggest show of TikTok?
Just like 350 million in the first week. Like that does make it like the biggest show of all time, right?
I don't know. Does it?
Like it has to.
Probably, actually. I've never thought of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I finally chucked it on, because I was doing homework and I was like, I need something in the background. I was like, we'll chuck on this at last. It was pretty decent, I mean, it was decent enough for me to finish it in one night.
Well, really? How long is it?
About 6 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Wow, that's good. Nice.
it's so fucking goofy though, man. Like the monster design is fucking it's goofy, and like the dialogue is really there's some bad dialogue, and there's some pretty bad acting, especially in episode 1, and like the action and like the school dynamics. It's pretty goofy. Like it's super fucking goofy, man.
But in a fun way? In like a...
In a cringe way most of the time, but like in a fun
God.
way as well. Like,
Okay.
like I did enjoy the show, but
Okay.
like it is pretty cringe. Like it is kids programming. Like
okay.
like the way that
Okay.
the way that Stranger Things takes a child cast and makes it for adults. This takes a the teenage cast and makes it for kids.
Oh, Jesus. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Oh, God.
Yeah. No, but it was alright. It was yeah.
Yeah?
The thing is, the Addams Family. It's always been about the family. That's the best part of the show is Gomez and Morticia. In my opinion, when they're there, it's fucking great. So like when you isolate one of the Addams Family to just Wednesday, I'm like, yeah, sure, it works in this kind of one-off, but like she does get kind of annoying with a kind of thing. They are developing it, so I mean, like it does work. But like the best part of the Addams Family is always the family done. It's the Addams Family values. Not Wednesday, not fucking Wednesday's values. So I'm like, I would like to see more Addams Family and less Wednesday, but it is what it is. It was pretty decent.
Okay. My brother loved this show, by the way. He keeps telling me to watch it, but
Yeah, it's made for kids.
I know, but I've always had Jake and I talk about this, and I won him over on my argument. Like Stranger Things is a kids show. There's no doubt. To me, I can't. Watching season 4, I couldn't even make a counter argument. I couldn't even conceive of a counter argument. This isn't a kids show. Like it's so the fact that you're like,
I think if you watch Wednesday, I think that might change your mind about Stranger Things as
maybe, man. See, that's not something I want my mind changed about. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know.
I think if anything, Stranger Things' demographic has become younger the more it's been released.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think season 1 was probably like the most like kind of mature story you could tell out of it, and it's kind of become a franchise of itself.
It really has. It really has. Yeah, exactly.
I haven't even finished. Have you finished season 4? I still haven't watched the last episode.
I watched it. Yeah, I finished it. Yeah.
No, well,
no one ever watched the last episode. It's like a almost Babylon length. The last episode.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Fitzy, are you gonna use John Wick?
I don't know. Should I?
You're more than welcome to.
Actually, I feel like I should use Chunking Express because otherwise Andy would be disappointed. Because like one of his favorite movies.
I can use John Wick then. That's fine. And I'll obviously want to get your take too. But I mean, it was awesome. It was freaking awesome. It ruled. It was great. John Wick Chapter 4. Go and see it. You know what I mean? I was my main thing was like, I mean, I love John Wick anyway, and it was just another great John Wick entry as far as I was concerned. I really, really enjoyed it. Surprised me for sure. Won't say any more, but I was mainly going in concerned about the runtime for sure, because that was a standout of like, why the fuck is this movie 3 hours long? But it was fine. It was totally fine. It ended up flowing quite nicely. And yeah, that was something I would have cut. I thought it was really, really great. There was a lot of really great things to break down about it. I'm just sort of being vague, but overall, I think it's probably, I don't know. I don't even know if I could rank them well. It's just, I don't know if I could say it's my favorite. I would need to do a rewatch and really figure it out. But they're all so close in my mind anyway. I think they're all very much on the same tier. So that's just my opinion. It's sort of hard to rank them. But yeah, I thought it was awesome. But I know, Fitzy, you definitely feel differently in that regard.
Yeah, my opinions are the opposite of that. They're like completely separated from me. I mean, this one is like stands so far above the others for me. I just think it's like, yeah, it's amazing. But they tackle so many different types of action in this film, and it's just all exhilarating and great.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone. I saw those average scores, man. You're not alone.
Mm.
It's like definitively rated the best, which is cool, really cool. Yeah. Was it the action specifically that you felt was like upped this time?
Yeah, the action was upped. The characters were like more goofy and more defined, or just like they just played into the hamminess better. But yeah, the action itself, like I don't know what my problem with John Wick 3 was, but I was kind of let down by the action in there. I know it's like kind of modernly revered as a modern kind of action staple, but it felt very different in this one. It felt more like fluid, more kinetic. I don't have the words to describe like what makes John Wick 3 versus John Wick 4 action different. Like if it even is different, or if it's just a mood thing when I watched it. But I think like the action in this is just like, yeah, incredible.
Oh yeah, no, there's no denying that. Yeah, it was awesome. It friggin' ruled. But yeah, tell us about Chungking Express. I don't know if this is this an action movie? Is this a good transition or not?
Well, not really, but I mean, the first half is kind of so like the movie is split into two halves. Where you kind of have two different, I guess, like semi love stories. The first one, there is kind of an action element with the woman who's kind of a drug smuggler, criminal kind of person. But yeah, it is a bit. I was talking with Andy about this. It is a bit more like Fallen Angels than I would have hoped, with how kind of like meditative, I guess, or like meandering it is. But like once you get to the second half, which is what I was waiting for with, I think it's like Fei Wong and Tony Leung. I accidentally said Chi Young to Andy. You got pissed.
Oh my god, that's a huge sin.
Yeah, right. That's when it gets like really great. They play like the same two songs over and over, from the Cranberries and like California Dreaming. But no, it's just a really cool story between two people. And the like cinematography as always is really sick. I mean, yeah, the thing that reminded me of Fallen Angels as well in the first half was that there's like this blurry, slow frame rate kind of method that Wong Kar-wai uses, and pair that with like it was like kind of very bass kind of music, very like bass focused music. That was I mean, it was great. But yeah, that reminded me of that movie. But the further I got into it, I don't know. Yeah, all over the place, but it was a good movie.
That's good. It sounds like by the use of slow frame rate, I would not like this movie. You know, not a recommendation for Zach.
I think it's like probably different to any version of slow frame rate you've ever seen. You know, like it is.
Oh, okay.
A very distinctive style.
Maybe I'd like it. Only The Last Samurai does it well, so you know.
Oh, sure.
Now comes the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, would you travel to Mars if you knew you could never return? Which is, of course, the predicament that many people face today. I was just listening on Triple J the other day. They're like, oh, you know, we're recruiting people who want to go to Mars, or, you know, this is something that kids should be thinking about today. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, we'll let the people speak for themselves. Aiden says, right now, no. If I was going with a group of 100,000 people to at least some sort of infrastructure pre-existing with a guaranteed job, maybe, I'd be older. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I like this thought put into that answer. That was good. Luke says, no. Mars is lame. I'd rather go to another planet. Okay. Not reasoning I was expecting. It's like, what I feel like Luke needs to expand. Like, what planet would he go to? You know, well, like, what's a cooler? I know. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Mars is great, but like, what's better than Mars? Like, aren't the other planets just like lame too?
Maybe
All the other
Saturn.
planets are fucking uninhabitable compared to Mars.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude,
And like,
Jupiter and Saturn are like gas planets. Or Jupiter is at least.
I think
I think so.
fucking Uranus or Neptune as well or some shit.
And like, Pluto's not even really like they can't decide if Pluto's a planet or not.
I mean,
full
Pluto's
stop.
just like they're all just too fucking far away as well. They're just way too cold. Like Mars is the only one. Like Mars is ridiculously fucking cold. Like Mars is the only one that is like remotely habitable.
Why does no one talk about Mercury or Venus? By the way,
Too hot.
are they the same? They're too hot. Of course. Yeah. Like, dude, there's no other planet. Like, if there was another planet where it's like, oh yeah, that one looks kind of cool. Like maybe, but there's not.
I think they're also incredibly fucking toxic.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, Mars with a bit of good old human terraforming and a bit of greenhouse gases, they could be perfectly habitable.
Yeah. Sure. Just the same as like, I don't know, living in goddamn the Sahara or some shit.
Yeah, just 40 years of industrialization. Perfect.
Absolutely. Can't wait for us to ruin that atmosphere too. Andy said no because I wouldn't be able to listen to Cinema Effect. That's very kind
I'm
of
sure
you,
you
Andy.
would be able to.
Mate, you can. Yeah, exactly. You can like download episodes. Probably not new episodes.
What? I'm sure they'll have Wi-Fi.
To beam out the signal is shit. I'm pretty sure.
I would have thought the same thing. Like, to me, when Brad Pitt in this film was having his 79-day isolation trial, I was just thinking, dude, surely there's like some Netflix or something, Surely you can't, like, there's not some like pre-installed video games on there,
Yeah.
Like, for real, why does he have to sit there and do nothing like it's goddamn 1970 or some shit?
So like The Martian covers it well. I'm pretty sure in like that in that movie they bring their own kind of thing to entertain themselves for a while, but like they can't get anything new because like it's not worth like the data transfer kind of thing, or like whether it has to be like linked up for a certain period of day or whatever it was. I can't remember, but like
what would be
really
like
work.
The best game that's like pre-downloaded? Like if you could play like one game,
One. Oh god, this is a whole other question of the week,
Minecraft.
right? That's a good answer. Oh, I can't. I don't know. I don't know if I could. Like I jumped to Skyrim, but like I don't know. I've played Skyrim 50 times. I don't know. I feel like I jumped to The Witcher, but would I get sick of it? Probably. Like Minecraft has that's a good answer because I can see the appeal of like, do you ever get sick of Minecraft?
You just keep them building shit.
Maybe in a way, but then it always has this like renewed potential of like there's something new.
Like people build like 1-to-1 scale of fucking Rivendell and shit like that in Minecraft. Like you can just spend your time doing that.
Yeah, it's creative. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd probably just go with a boring 2001 answer. I'd probably just do chess versus computer.
Wow.
Become a master over the 73 days.
Oh yeah. You
need a multiplayer. You need like a competitive game. It can't be something that's like totally. It can't be like a single story, and it can't be something that's like too open and creative, because you just need to have like something that you can just play instantly and have like a directive,
but Minecraft,
and that you can improve at. And like
Minecraft, you can speedrun and you can impose your own challenges. You can be like, I'll beat the warden with iron armor, or you can be like, I'll do a hardcore world with no villager trading. Like it's
right.
Like Minecraft has plenty of like self-imposed challenges and it's free to fucking
yeah, but it's self-imposed. I feel like you don't want that. I feel like you gotta keep things simple.
You're just gonna get dicked down by an AI in chess.
Yeah.
Like I get your logic and it's very sound logic, but like I can't even play a multiplayer game now for an hour, like let alone if I had nothing else to play. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather just have The Last of Us and just like play it like 50 times and like become a speedrun master at it or something.
Right.
But I get that is sort of the same thing. Like I get you need like something to like really focus on and become like that's my goal with it. Like, and I can get enjoyment out of playing it that many times for that reason, as opposed to
you need something with infinite potential.
Sure. But man, no, this great question, but it's bullshit because, man, if Teslas can friggin' download and play games now, you're telling me spaceships won't be able to? Come on. You can play games in your Tesla and probably like I don't know what their storage is, but it's probably pretty all right. I'm not buying any of this. Like, oh, you've only got 100 gigs for a game.
I just think the other thing is that like I can't remember what the figure is, but like The Martian talks about it again. I think in the books, I think in the book is where it's mentioned. Maybe not in the movie. But like for every like 100 grams, like it's a fucking couple $100,000 as well. So like you can't really like are you gonna spend the money on sending him up with a console?
I feel like it's a worthy investment to have someone who's more motivated, to do their job, and who's more intellectually active, more passionate. I don't know. Yeah, it's just refreshing to have a more productive human, I would argue.
Oh yeah, but they do have those like mood stabilizer things, like those little drugs that like hides in the movie.
Drugs are always the answer, guys. I will just say my answer to this question is hell no. I watched Ad Astra, so that's all I need to say. What about you, Liam?
Yeah, I'm probably the same, but if it's like a small community, I think that would be fun. If there's like a few thousand of you and you're building a new planet, that's like it's a pretty dream life.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it sort of brings up Aiden's dilemma of when are you going? Because like the first people to go, well, there's going to be like 3 of them or some shit, right? I don't know.
But I feel like that'd be the better time to go. Because if I was just like went to Mars and I was just like had a job or another like cog in the system, like the woman that has been there all her life, is kind of overruled by other authority. That's just kind of shit and disappointing. I feel like if you're like an innovator, at the front of the game, you're terrifying Mars the chance of adding all the little eco life.
Wasting trees on Mars when you should be planting them here.
Bro, there's fucking millions of seeds.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Can Mars grow trees?
I'm once going to bring up the book and film The Martian, where they do indeed grow potatoes and shit.
Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So my answer would be hell yes, in contradiction to you, because I've watched The Martian.
Nice. Cool. Where does the? I mean, I should probably just rewatch.
And I'm just saying. Brad Pitt spent like fucking 700 days. Matt Damon spent like 700 days alone on Mars. Brad Pitt spent like fucking 100 days alone. I mean, he's a little bitch.
It's a good point, actually. It's actually a valid point. Matt Damon, though, where does that end up for him? Like, does he end up genuinely being really important, and like other people are going to be able to come to Mars now at the end of that movie, and it's all?
No, that was just survival for him. But it did lead the way for like people now know that you can grow shit on Mars and all that stuff.
Right. Okay. So the film doesn't at the end like have more people turning up.
No, he gets rescued.
Does he? Okay.
Wait, have you watched the movie?
Yeah, but I don't know, literally 8 years ago now. It came out in 2015.
So like his team comes back and he gets shot into space and then he goes back to Earth and like is like hailed as a hero and all that.
Oh, okay, all right. So he proved it was possible, basically.
Well, yeah.
Okay, all right. Sounds kind of
Martian is like
disappointing.
The polar opposite of Ad Astra.
Yeah.
Just a positive movie about exploration.
Ad Astra feels way more Ridley Scott than Martian does, to be honest. Because it has that bore factor,
Okay.
You reckon? I don't agree with that. But okay.
What do you mean? Ridley Scott films are boring. I mean, and The Martian just isn't.
Yeah, but Ridley Scott films aren't slow. They're not like.
Have you fucking seen Blade Runner?
No. Vince is right. There's somehow, yeah.
Fuck, what? He has like a fucking incredibly shit film.
But like Gladiator, for example, is like an average film, but it's not like a slow, like meditative, like Tree of Life kind of film.
Sure.
Yeah, somehow his films aren't slow but also boring at the same time.
But I just think of like Black Hawk Down as fucking doggy and like.
But is it slow?
Probably not, to be honest. I don't know.
But it's boring still, I imagine.
What else have you got? Let's All the Money in the World.
Hey, Elsuguchi and
that's not slow, I guess.
The other one from that same year is good. What's it? The Last
Duel. Alien Covenant wasn't boring.
Oh yeah.
You see, I talk my shit, but I can't back it up. Body of Lies. Body of Lies sucks. Hannibal sucks. Summer Lays is good, I guess. Alien's good. Sorry, I got distracted.
Sorry, Ridley. We apologise. Oh man, I don't know how We did like 5 questions of the week and the one
we
question
did,
of the
yeah.
week. That was crazy. That's great. That's great. All right. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment
Did you
section.
say
Leave us a comment.
sponsors? Oh, responses. Oh, fuck.
Did
Like,
I say it too fast though?
I think I was yawning, so it kind of like muffled like the first bit, and it was like, leave your sponsors. And I'm like, what the fuck? People paying us tribute?
I also realised I sort of wasn't saying it too enthusiastically, so I'm just going to start again if that's okay. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Leave us a comment on Instagram or Spotify, or join the Discord server. This week, the specific question we'll be asking you is, what is your least favourite social media platform? Let us know. So many valid answers. So many, oh my God. So much potential here, guys. This gonna have to be careful that segment doesn't go on for 25 minutes. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning into this week's episode. Yeah? What?
Paul. Paul. Are we going to say that?
Thank you. I could pretend I was going to, but I wasn't.
So
yeah, we have a very
I
important
had a
poll.
question as well, but I forgot the
Sure.
question. Fuck. Wait, let me just sit with it for a second.
Well, can we do the poll while you think?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. We've got a very important poll coming up. We do these, of course, monthly. Fitzy and I are up. Our turn to nominate the film to be put in the poll, and the winner on Instagram, of course, will be watched in a fortnight's time. However, this is a bit of a special poll because we are currently nominating films for episode 150 of the show, which we'll be doing in person once again. The return to the in-person, the studio, I guess. So that's going to be fun. So a very special poll. As a result of that, Fitzy and I already know what we're going to choose for each other, so no surprises here. But Liam, do you care to make your nomination officially?
That's not even the most special part of the episode, though.
Why? What?
Are we?
Nah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Are we going back on this?
Yeah. No. We're doing that. I'm just not. No. We're doing that. I'm just not. We're not. That's a surprise. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of on the fence about it again. I'll let that be known now.
Okay.
I don't know. That's. I don't know. He wanted to do it last week. That sounds like self-doubt now. I'm not about self-doubt. You know what I mean? Okay. That's a surprise. Liam, what are you nominating?
I'm nominating for this momentous episode, Apocalypse Now.
Nice. I will be nominating Whiplash from Damien Chazelle, one of our favourite filmmakers right now, of course. So yes, it will be Whiplash versus Apocalypse Now on the Instagram poll. Head over to our Instagram stories about 24 hours-ish after this episode goes live and cast your vote. And the winner between those two films will be viewed in our episode 150 special in 2 weeks' time. So get excited for that. I'm very curious. I feel like that's going to be a fun poll. I don't think the winner's obvious there by any means, in my opinion, but we'll see. It's a very special poll, so cast your vote. Have your voice be heard. Jane, have you thought about whatever you?
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't that good. I mean, we can. Yeah, it's all right. We can pass
man.
Yeah.
Oh god. All right. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I feel like this is in a weird order, but Fitzy, what are we doing next week?
The Social Network. David Fincher once again. Back.
Yep. It's on Netflix, I think.
I think so too.
Don't use that letterbox feature that fucking busts your computer.
Oh yeah, I don't think that does that for me. Let's see.
No.
Oh Jesus, he's playing with fire here, guys.
Man. I don't think it does it for me. Because mine automatically comes up with AU things. Okay, apparently it's on Foxtel, which I don't have at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, but I will double check.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. Yeah. I'll be able to confirm in the comments anyway. All right, very good. And that's, of course, why we asked your least favourite social media platform, in case you forgot, because those would usually go together, but, I don't know how to structure a show. All right, that's it. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Liam and Jaden for being here, as always. Have a great rest of your week, and goodbye.